What's going on, lads and lassies? It's Ocean from the South Stand back again with another video, and today we are previewing Man United away. Now, is it a better time to play Man United? I'm not too sure there is. I think Ruben Amorim is under immense pressure at the minute, and to be honest, rightfully so. I know this is a Sunderland podcast and a Sunderland show, and we're of course going to talk about it from our perspective and the ways that we can punish United. But just quickly, from a football point of view, I cannot believe that by the time that we've returned to the Premier League, Man United have just absolutely imploded. It's honestly, it's unbelievable, to be honest. If I was a United fan, I would be up in arms at the minute because there's just no way that club in any way reflects the Man United that we've come to know over the past 20, 30 years. And yes, times change, but from a club and from a fan perspective, surely you keep yourself at the standards. I think that was always the thing that got Man United really as far as did. Yes, they had unbelievable talents in every position for many years, but more than anything, it was a mentality, it was a work ethic, it was a set of standards, to be honest. And that the Man United that we see, the Man United that we watched at Brentford at the weekend, and absolutely no way reflect that. And I watched them at the weekend against Brentford, and honestly, at times I was laughing out loud. The way they defended the first couple goals, the yeah, we'll get right into it. But yeah, first of all, the Man United system, you're probably bored of hearing it. If you keep up with football content, you watch anything, you listen to the radio, any sort of talk shows, Sky shows, we've got Man United in their system and Ruben Amorim's system drilled in our throats. It is in no ways working. But I think what you watched that weekend is not only just a system not working, but a whole host of just complete individual errors. I mean, I watched the lick for one of those goals. You see the goalkeeper buying dear. Yeah, under Amorim, we're seeing this high line led by Harry Maguire being the furthest back to defend a Man United high line. And at times during that game against Brentford, it was so obvious. In fact, it was no more obvious than when Jordan Henderson assisted one of the goals when he basically passed to Igor Thiago from his own box and he just completely negated any Man United play in the middle because it was just so obvious that if your striker can stay on side, you can play over the top of Man United. You don't even have to play through the middle, which for me is something I don't think Sunderland have done amazing this year. I think a lot of our build-up players came down the wings and we've not been able to really cut teams open through the central channels. You don't even have to against Man United. We've seen it time and time again where that high line can be so easily exposed. So many, like all of the defenders lack in pace. The fact that they're still playing Luke Shaw in this day and age, I think Talbot, I think Wilson, I think Chrissy Rigg, Simon Adingra, the lot of them, they can have a field day with the pace of this Man United backline. And I think as well, just the fact that you've seen so many times De Ligt and Maguire in the same places, leaving so much space in the middle. I think Wilson Isidore should have a field day and should get on the score sheet in this game. I think it's a perfect game for him, to be honest. And with players like Omar Alderete, with players like Granit Xhaka that can pick any sort of pass, they could pick any head in the crowd and put it on them. I think honestly that Sunderland should be able to, just with the basics of what we've already been doing this season, should be able to get points out of this Man United team, which is a crazy statement to make as a newly promoted team. But genuinely, I think for the first time in my life, I do not fear as an opposition rival going to Old Trafford because what is there to fear? Even when they're on the ball, I think from the back playing out, they're incredibly slow in possession. And then really their only shining light in that instance is their front three, is your Cunhas, is your Mbermo, is your Sesko, which even then at the end of the day they're trying and trying to make something happen and it's not often paying off. I think I look at someone like Bruno Fernandes and the I understand how technically good he is and how numbers wise, stat wise, how important they can be for Man United. But from a captain's point of view, I've no idea how that guy's still their captain. Just mentality wise, I don't know. I see him pointing at all these players in the pitch and then misplacing his own passes. And if I'm a teammate on his team, I'm not listening to that. Like, I'm just not. Like, the way he screams at his other players while he's throwing his hands up at his own mistakes, I can't wrap my head around it. And I just think as well, if I'm him, or I'm a Man United fan anyway, looking at our last 10 years and the way it's went, he's been there through it. He's been there through all the bad times. So, yeah, I think the way Sunderland are at the minute, and the way both these clubs are in terms of just the general atmosphere and energy around these clubs from the top down is just polar opposites. Sunderland are full of energy. They're on such a high. The morale is so high around the club. And I think, as I said in my review show for the Nottingham Forest, I think Sunderland believe they can go into any game and win it. And I don't think that's there with Man United whatsoever. You seen it when that third week goal went in against Brentford. The manager can't even look at his team. The players hand in heads. Luke Shaw was quite literally like this behind the camera, so it wouldn't look at him on the bench. I mean, I just don't see how Sunderland, with the mentality and the quality as well that we've shown so far this season. I mean, defensively, our backline's been incredible. Like each week they're getting picked for team of the week. I know that's just like a bit of a stupid thing to talk about, but I think it shows how other teams are starting to notice as well. Robin Roof's in net is unbelievable in terms of his shot stopping abilities so far this season. And I look at, for example, at Man United, and I see Bayern there in net, and the amount of times that Brentford could just shoot at him, and a guy will fumble it at some point. So yeah, I honestly I don't mean to come across in such a condescending tone to any Man United fans that may or may not be watching this. But genuinely, with the basics that Sunderland have showed us so far this season, I don't see how we don't go into this one believing at the very least that we can win. Now, for team selection, for me, I spoke about it in my match review over on the Nottingham Forest review there. But for me, I think that Arthur Masuaku just defensively wasn't really up to things in the last game. And I think fitness wise as well, within 15, 20, 25 minutes, he did not look up to the standard of our other defenders defensively. He wasn't coming out to put the pressure on the players. He wasn't, yeah, it didn't seem fully up to the standard that we've seen so far with Ronaldo. So for me, if I was to choose, it would be between these two backlines with the rest of the team unchanged so far. So I'd either go with Trey Hume at left back instead of right back, of course. Masuaku dropped, and then Alderete and Mukiele in the centre half, in the centre halves, and then have Luciano Gietralda at right back. My other option for this would be to bring in Dan Ballard, keep Trey Hume at left back, Ballard and Alderete in at centre half, and then Mukiele in his natural position at a right back role. I think for me, that's the option that raises the level of the back four the most, whilst also keeping options to come on. I don't know if that fully makes sense because in many ways I believe that if we start with Lushara on the pitch, leave Dan Ballard off, I'm not sure that substitution wise Regis can be as impactful as it has been by being able to bring on Geertruida, by being able to, drop the left back, because then if you drop Hume, it's maybe just not going to work out the same for me. I think for me, I would be starting Hume at left back, Alderete and Ballard in centre half, and Mukiele at right back. Other than that, I would keep the team unchanged. I think Chris Rigg did have a few wayward passes kind of in that game, but I don't think he's done anywhere near enough to be dropped. And I think with someone like Chris Rigg, not only they bring in the youthful energy and how much he works so and how often he works so hard for the team, but I think he's about someone who completely understands what Regis Lebris is asking for him, and I think he can come in and do the job. Even if his Forest showing maybe wasn't as good as what we got to see against Villa, I think there's plenty left to see from Chris Rigg in this Sunderland team. So definitely not dropping Riggy anytime soon. In terms of match predictions, now again I don't want to come across as disrespectful when I talk about some of these like this Man United team, but I am genuinely gobsmacked by what's going on at that club just now, and I think it's genuinely it is toxic from the top to the bottom. So for me, I'm going to be going for a Sunderland win again this season. It's incredible that I can even say that and say it and actually believe it, because if I didn't believe it, I wouldn't say it. I would pick the other team. Like in terms of prediction, if I thought we are going to get beat, I would pick them. But in terms of Man United, I am tossing up between a 2-0 Sunderland and a 3-1 Sunderland, because United do have the quality in forward positions to cut you open and do something to create a chance. So far this season, though, they haven't been able to take those chances. But when you've got players like Mbuemo, when you've got players like Cunha, you've got players like Sesko, they can make chances and they can get up there. So part of me is thinking about giving them the goal. However, I just think that our goalkeeper and our defend I think our goalkeeper and the defence this season so far has shown how strong they can be. I'm going to go for 2 now Sunderland. And that honestly is a bold decision to say that. I feel like other teams will still put us down to concede, but so far 3 clean sheets against a Man United team that isn't always taking the chances. And part of the reason that I'm going for an assured Sunderland win, I think, is just because I don't think these players want to play for Amorim at all now. I think just all the rumours about him not being able to be sacked until November to save money. Yeah, I just can't see how in any environment they're going to get any points in the next few games. So I'm going to go for it. Sunderland 2-0. Let's wait and see, hey. But as always, I'm actually looking forward to these Sunderland games these days. I can't believe it. Even just the fact that we get a week off between the games at the minute, I'm just find myself during the week excited about Sunderland again. Whereas sometimes in the Championship, you felt like, oh God, give me a break, give me a week off. But yeah, nah, plenty excited for this game at the weekend. As always, guys, this one's brought to you by the southstandclothing.com. For any Sunderland fan wear, t-shirts, merch, all the lot of it, go and check out the southstandclothing.com, and I'll see you guys in the next one. How are the lads? Come on.